It's 8 o'clock right now. UW-Madison is under investigation after the education secretary accused the school of violating Title VI. We've got the details ahead. But first, areas of southern Wisconsin are waking up to some storm damage from last night. Jacob will share what to expect next and throughout the rest of the weekend. Then later, President Trump delivers a speech on law and order Friday. We'll hear reaction from the speech and what the president is calling for. This is Weekend Mornings, and thanks for joining us. I'm Kyle Pazarski. It is Saturday, March 15th. And let's get straight to the first warm forecast. Jacob Montesano joins us. And Jacob, it's going to be a pretty nice overall weekend for St. Patrick's Day, isn't it?
Yeah, I mean, temperatures, although colder, they're not going to be too bad. I mean, we've seen plenty colder temperatures earlier this winter, but obviously compared to those 70s yesterday, they definitely will be colder. Now, as we take a look at the current radar, we are still seeing some light showers. In fact, these light showers have actually been developing over the last couple of hours. We may continue to see some showers, especially during the morning today, but we're certainly not going to see any severe weather, and most of this rain will just be a morning thing. By the afternoon, we are going to be dry. Now, speaking of those storms yesterday, here's a look at some of the wind gusts that were reported. 75 miles per hour for Edgerton and Janesville. A lot of the areas saw wind gusts up to 65 miles per hour. Now, it is going to be windy today, but not this windy. These were all within those thunderstorms. Now, as we take a look at the current wind speeds, winds are up to around 10 to 20, even a little bit higher than that. And these are the sustained winds. Checking out the wind gusts, already up to 30 miles per hour, and they are expected to increase over the next couple of hours. There's a wind advisory in effect for Dane County and areas to the east. High wind warning for southeastern Wisconsin, and this is until 5 p.m. Now, we are still mild, and in fact, the low temperatures this morning well above the average high that we normally see today. But these temperatures are going to cool down by the time we get to the afternoon. I'll talk more in detail about that and give you your Sunday forecast coming up in just a little bit.
All right, Jacob, thank you. We'll check back in just a bit. Topping our news, UW-Madison is now on a list of universities under investigation by the Department of Education's Office for Civil Rights. On Friday morning, Education Secretary Linda McMahon sent this memo accusing the schools of violating Title VI of the Civil Rights Act by partnering with the PhD Project. The nonprofit helps students from underrepresented groups get degrees in business. By law, any institution receiving federal funds that violated Title VI will lose that money. A UW spokesperson responded to the accusation saying, quote, UW-Madison has not yet been formally notified of any complaint related to the PhD project. If a complaint is received, the university will cooperate with any investigation, end quote. Wisconsin could be ditching daylight saving time if a new proposed bill passes the state legislature. Representatives Nate Gustafson and Rachel Cabral-Guevara introduced a bill to eliminate the practice. They say it leads to workforce injuries, traffic accidents, as well it is bad for mental health and productivity in adults and kids. But one clock repair shop owner in Madison says the change is unlikely to happen.
I have heard that before, that they were going to do that along with the metric system. We're going to change that too. So I wouldn't hold your breath for either one of them.
If the bill does pass, it would take effect next January the 1st. A new crew is on its way to the International Space Station to replace the astronauts who have been there for several months. SpaceX's Crew 10 mission blasted off from Kennedy Space Center in Florida on Friday. On board are 4 astronauts from the U.S., Japan, and Russia. The team is scheduled to dock with the station later on this evening. Next to Washington, the Senate passed a stopgap bill last night that will keep the government funded through September. And President Trump also raised some eyebrows on Friday with an unusual visit to the Department of Justice. CBS's Bradley Blackburn has the latest.
The bill is passed.
Just hours before the government was set to partially shut down, the Senate approved a bill that will pay the bills for another 6 months. A handful of Democrats, led by leader Chuck Schumer, said going along with the Republican continuing resolution was better than the alternative.
As bad as the CR is, I believe allowing Donald Trump to take even much more power via a government shutdown is a far worse option.
The move angered many Democrats.
This bill is to establish a slush fund for Elon Musk and Donald Trump.
But earned rare praise from President Trump.
And I appreciate Senator Schumer, and I think he did the right thing.
On Friday, the president walked into the Department of Justice alongside Attorney General Pam Bondi He delivered a law and order directive to DOJ employees.
I will insist upon and demand full and complete accountability for the wrongs and abuses that have occurred.
And he railed against the department's past investigation into him.
The case against me was
Democrats criticized the visit, which presidents have avoided in the past to maintain the Department of Justice's independence.
No other president in American history has stood at the Department of Justice to proclaim an agenda of criminal prosecution and retaliation against his political foes.
President Bush visited when the DOJ building was renamed for RFK, and President Obama attended the retirement of Attorney General Eric Holder. Bradley Blackburn, CBS News, New York.
Additionally, there has already been a purge in the Justice Department with the firing of prosecutors who handled January 6th cases in the investigation into President Trump. A sprawling storm system crossed parts of the U.S. Friday, causing deadly crashes, damage to buildings, and fanned more than 100 wildfires. In Villa Ridge, a town west of St. Louis, people are waking up to scenes just like this, seeing structural damage that was reported to a building that housed a gas station. And at a Burger King, damage occurred where residents of a nearby mobile home park were sheltering from the storm.
Currently, there's a couple of different building collapses in the area. We're going through assessing the buildings, making sure that they're all clear, that all the occupants are out of the building.
Injuries have been reported. The extent of those were not immediately made available, but they are believed to be non-life-threatening. Taking a look at Wall Street, where stocks rebounded on Friday off of the news that Congress would pass the funding plan to avoid the government shutdown. As you heard before, it did pass. Now this after President Donald Trump's budding trade war shook up the markets this week. And while all three major indexes closed on Friday, they still closed the week in the red. And here are Friday's numbers. The Dow was up 674 points, the NASDAQ rising 451, and the S&P gained 117. Now to more local news. A Madison nonprofit is working to expand access to free and inclusive firearm safety classes. Blake Alaverenga is the director of the Forward Initiative. The last time that we talked to him, he was passing out free gun locks at the farmers market and teaching his classes in smaller spaces. But since then, Madison Kung Fu has stepped in to offer him a bigger space to expand his reach.
Now we have more classes available than ever, and we're able to offer them consistently on the same days of the week. People always suggest like libraries and things like that, but when dealing with serious topics like firearms and life-saving skills, we really need a dedicated space where people can feel comfortable.
If you are interested in signing up for a class or to donate to him, you can head to theforwardinitiative.org. One person was hospitalized after a chemical spill in Waunakee on Friday morning. Madison Fire says it is investigating the spill as Saia Trucking after reports of chemicals were leaking from the back of a trailer. The reaction occurred when the chemicals came into contact with the bumper of the trailer and creating vapors and heat reaching 115 degrees. The spill is contained, but a 300-foot safety perimeter has been established to keep people out of the area. Wisconsin's Department of Public Instruction is launching a new website to track the impact of federal funding cuts. DPI says the tool is available on its website and includes updates on current funding cuts at the federal level, along with an interactive map that allows the public to view district-specific data. There's also personalized one-page flyers for each Wisconsin district, and those can be found at the bottom page of the website. A Wisconsin college student says his friend's quick thinking saved his life after he suddenly went into cardiac arrest. It was back in October when Humberto Barraza thought he was just practicing a dance routine in his Concordia University dorm. But suddenly he was in cardiac arrest and seizing. That is when his friend performed CPR until first responders arrived. This week, Humberto returned to school for a ceremony that honored him, his friend, and the first responders.
So I flatlined 3 times in total, but I'm good now. I'm okay now. Heart's beating, everything's fine. You hear about it, right, on TV, but you don't really think about, well, if this happened to me, who would come and help? Everybody, apparently.
Now, after Humberto found out he has Wolff-Parkinson-White syndrome, which causes his heart to beat abnormally fast, doctors expect him to make a full recovery, and he will return to school in the fall. It is 8:08, still ahead here on Weekend Mornings. We hear an Irish tune sure to get you in the St. Patrick's Day spirit. Plus, Jacob is back with a check of the full first warn forecast and what to expect as you plan to head outside. This is Weekend Mornings.
Good morning, everybody. Here's a look at the 3 things you need to know. We are going to be seeing very windy conditions today, and that will lead to much cooler temperatures by the time we get to Sunday. And our next consistent chance of precipitation will be Wednesday, but we do have some light precip chances throughout the weekend. Some rain right now and also maybe some snow later tonight as the temperatures cool down. But the big story are those winds. Looking at the wind gust forecast, they're going to be up near 40 to 45 miles per hour, especially for Madison and areas to the east. La Crosse and surrounding areas, as well as the southwestern portion of Wisconsin, still going to be breezy with gusts up around 30 to 35 miles per hour, just not quite as bad as the southeastern portion of the state. Now, once we get to the evening, the winds not quite as bad, up to around 30 mile per hour wind gusts, but the winds will be out of the northwest, and that's expected to continue throughout the entire night into Sunday morning, and that is really going to cause some much cooler temperatures for the day on Sunday. Now, the temperatures aren't going to be brutally cold, but compared to yesterday where we got into the middle 70s, it'll be noticeably colder. So looking at the temperatures for today, the highs for Madison will occur around 11 a.m. to noon. And for those of you near the Mississippi River, the high temperature of the day may be just about now as the winds have already kind of shifted out of the northwest for you folks. And looking at the temperatures throughout the afternoon, they're going to continue to fall rather than rise. And by the time we get to sunset, we'll see temperatures in the lower 40s, upper 30s, and they're obviously going to continue falling from there. By the time we get to Sunday morning, we could be talking about temperatures in the 20s, not too far from the teens as you look further north towards Eau Claire. Lows will be in the upper 20s for Madison, and then highs will be around 40 for the day on Sunday. Now, as we take a look at Monday, Tuesday, they're going to warm up very quickly, but then they're going to drop once again as we are going to see a system move through Wednesday into Thursday, which will once again cause that shift in the winds. So let's take a look at that system. This is starting Tuesday evening, still looking dry at this time. Most of the precipitation will move in Wednesday morning. Could move in late Tuesday night, but it looks to start out as rain, at least for Madison. It may start out as snow and only be snow for La Crosse and areas northwest of that. But as those temperatures cool down throughout the afternoon, the rain will transition to snow. And during Wednesday evening and early Wednesday night, we could be seeing some snowfall accumulation. And it does look to clear out by sunrise Thursday, maybe some lingering snow showers. And although the snow will likely melt quickly by Thursday afternoon, Thursday morning could be seeing some slippery roads as the overnight temperatures will be below freezing, so we're likely not going to see a lot of snow melt during that time. So again, we could be seeing some hazardous travel for Thursday morning, and I know it's very crazy. We're talking about snow accumulation after the high yesterday was 77. So that's just March weather here in southern Wisconsin. It looks like that'll be the only chance of precipitation, at least consistent chance of precipitation over the next week, with maybe more consistent rain by the beginning of the following week.
And St. Patrick's Day on Monday. Looks to be nice, though.
Yeah, other than some wind, it will be pretty good, especially by the afternoon, and then Tuesday as well will be very nice.
All right, well, thank you, Jacob. Well, each month we work to highlight local musicians and venues that they play at here in southern Wisconsin. And this morning, photojournalist Chris Hawbaker brings us the sounds of Dano with a tune that's sure to get you in the spirit of St. Patrick's Day.
Yeah, my name is Benny McCarthy.
My name is Nell Nicroneen. That's Nellni Fada, CHRO Fada INI Fada N. We're Danu all the way from Ireland, and we're going to sing a song now called Master McGrath.
Danu. Yeah. Where did that name come from?
Well, she was the queen goddess. In Celtic mythology, the river Danube was associated with her, you know.
1869 being the date and the year, those Waterloo sportsmen and more did appear, oh, to view the great prizes and bear them awa, never counting on Ireland and Master McGrath. On the 12th of December...
Well, this year we celebrate 30 years. It's our Pearl anniversary. Well, it's traditional Irish music, So, you know, foot tapping, jigs and reels.
That day of renown, Mulgreny's keeper, they left Lurgan town, and again at the channel it soon drove them more. On the 13th they landed on Fairhaven shore.
Live music is always very important, and it's always, you know, great to support, you know, the local venues and local bands that are travelling through. So for us, our music is there to be enjoyed as well, and we love playing in front of crowds.
He stepped forward and he said, "Gentlemen, is there any among you who have money to spend? For your great English renown, I don't care a straw. 5,000 to 1 upon Master McGrath."
We play lots of old tunes, and I sing a lot of songs that are ancient, some of them are hundreds and hundreds of years old. So the band, it's great crack to go to one of our gigs. It's full of life, and we like to have fun, so it's always a good night.
Makes me want to visit Ireland. Well, if you enjoyed that, you can check out Dano for yourself. They play tonight at the Overture Center. Well, next this morning to sports. Badger fans are celebrating after the men's basketball team beat UCLA in Friday's Big Ten tournament matchup. It was on Thursday when Bucky beat Northwestern, and fans said that outcome was a no-brainer, obviously, but come Friday, they weren't as certain. We spoke to a couple of excited fans who traveled all the way from Oconomowoc to watch the game on the campus.
Big W's, big W's. You see how we're playing? Bro, yeah, I mean, they're good, but we're better. Nah, if we play the way we're playing today, we got this easily.
This team's easily going to the national championship. John Tonje is best player in the nation. John Blackwell, great second option. The way John Tonje is playing right now, I don't think anybody in the nation can stop us. And we're hitting our threes, so I am not too worried.
Now, Zach will have full highlights from the game coming up later this morning. And don't turn the channel, as Wisconsin will be facing off against Michigan State today on CBS. And you can watch that game here on both WISC-TV Madison and WKBT-TV La Crosse. Tip-off is set for noon. Coming up now on 8:20, still ahead, Jacob is back with a quick check of the weekend forecast. Plus, Will Loper has the 3 things you need to watch. This is Weekend Mornings.
There are a few small chances of precipitation throughout the weekend. We're seeing that one right now where there's some light rain to the northwest of Madison around La Crosse. That will move out pretty quickly. Much of the day is going to be dry with just a few on and off clouds. A few peaks of sunshine are possible as well. But as we take a look at tonight, we are going to see some snow move in, especially for areas from Madison and to the east. We're likely not going to see much accumulation, but if some of these bands of snow do produce some heavy snowfall rates, we maybe could see up to a ½ inch at most. Might create some slick spots as we head into Sunday morning, but the snow is expected to be a very wet snow. So by the time we get to Sunday afternoon, where we are expecting a lot of sunshine, it'll melt very quickly. And looking at the precipitation chances beyond that, we're going to be pretty dry by the time we get to Sunday afternoon through Tuesday. Maybe some precipitation moving in Tuesday night, but especially Wednesday into Wednesday night. It will start out as rain and transition to snow. And that does look to be our next consistent weather maker here in southern Wisconsin. Now, as far as how much snow, a bit unclear, but we'll have more details as the system gets closer.
Jacob, thank you. A crime thriller, an animated adventure on the sea, and a fight between good and evil are just a few of the things that you can stream this weekend. Our Will Loper takes a look at all of it in this week's 3 Things to Watch.
I'm going to explain to you what we do. We're posing as feds. We're ripping off drug dealers.
If you're good, they don't remember your face.
Just a badge.
Watch characters get in over their heads in Dope Thief, newly streaming on Apple TV+.
We went to the wrong house. Now, these people are looking for us.
Let's go! Let's go!
After posing as DEA agents, two lifelong friends find themselves on the run after robbing the wrong house.
How bad is it, Ray?
No more secrets, okay?
You wanted to come this time.
Those with younger viewers will want to check out Moana 2, newly streaming on Disney+.
This is a call from the ancestors.
Hidden in a terrible storm, it's an ancient island. Setting foot on its sands would break the curse.
Although not as good as the first Moana, there's still plenty of adventure to enjoy in this sequel.
Now I kind of miss the lava monster.
Ow! Ow!
The world is changing. A tide sweeping us along against our control.
And fantasy fans will want to check out the third season of The Wheel of Time, newly streaming on Amazon Prime Video.
Our people have been waiting for the Karakarn's arrival. Do you think it might be you?
Rosamund Pike returns as Moraine, searching for the one who will help fight the forces of evil.
Get ready!
Those are the three things you need to watch, and this is Will Loper for Weekend Mornings.
And still ahead on Weekend Mornings, we take a look at today's top headlines at 8:30. Stick with us. It's 8:30 right now. Southern Wisconsin is waking up to damage left behind from last night's storms, with some seeing power outages. Jacob has what to expect next this weekend. Plus, a new bill is making its way through the Wisconsin legislature, looking to put an end to daylight saving. Got those details straight ahead. This is Weekend Mornings, and once again, we thank you for joining us. I'm Kyle Pazarski here on this Saturday, March the 15th. And Jacob Montesano has the first one forecast. Jacob, we had a lot of storms last night. It's looking better today, though, right?
Yeah, absolutely. We're seeing some rain right now, but that will be just about it in terms of precipitation. And although it looks like most of that rain is pretty light, maybe some pockets of moderate rain. However, the severe weather risk is 0 today. We're not going to see any of that, but we are going to see some strong winds. Now, looking at the current wind speeds, up around 15 to 20, even close to 25 miles per hour in southern Wisconsin. Not as bad for you folks in La Crosse. And overall, Madison and areas to the south and east will see the strongest winds today. Looking at the wind gusts up near 40 miles per hour. How about 47 miles per hour already in Dubuque? So there are wind advisories out there for Madison and areas to the east. A high wind warning in southeastern Wisconsin. Both of these are until 5 p.m. And again, it's not going to be quite as bad the further west you are, but it still will be a little bit breezy. Now, temperatures right now are mild, but the temperatures aren't going to rise much more during the day before they start to fall. And you folks near La Crosse and up to Eau Claire, you guys may actually see the temperatures fall already. So looking at the temperature and overall forecast throughout the day, the high for Madison will occur around noon with the temperatures falling during the afternoon, and it's only going to be in the middle 50s compared to the 70s yesterday. Still above normal for this time of the year, but a lot colder, definitely. And like I mentioned for La Crosse, you guys are at 51 right now, and that may be the high for the day as temperatures may begin falling already. So it will be windy, but it will be dry today, and I'll talk more in detail about the forecast for next week coming up a little bit later.
All right, Jacob, thank you. Got some top stories to get to now. UW-Madison is part of a list of universities under investigation by the Department of Education's Office for Civil Rights. On Friday morning, Education Secretary Linda McMahon sent this memo accusing the schools of violating Title VI of the Civil Rights Act by partnering with the PhD Project. By law, any institution receiving federal funds that violated Title VI will lose that money. UW-Madison said Friday it had not been formally notified of any complaint related to this project. On Friday, dozens of disabled veterans took to the state capitol to protest cuts to the Department of Veterans Affairs. It was last week when a memo from the department revealed it was planning to cut more than 80,000 jobs. This is on top of the 1,400 federal VA employees who were laid off as part of the Trump administration's cut to the federal government's probationary workforce. Demonstrators say they are not fighting for only themselves, but also the veterans of the future.
There'll be a lot more veterans giving all the military actions we've been involved in for the last 20 years, and they're going to need a lot of follow-up benefits for emotional situations and physical, or both, problems. I think it's just the tip of the iceberg about the growing concern about these kind of cuts and cuts to other programs, Department of Education, Health and Human Services, and so forth.
The VA department heads and human resources officials are conducting a sweeping review of employees. Their plan right now on how to cut and reorganize their workforce will be submitted by April 13th. Wisconsin could be ditching daylight saving time if a new proposed bill passes through the state legislature. Representatives Nate Gustafson and Rachel Cabral-Guevara introduced a bill to eliminate the practice. They say it leads to workforce injuries, traffic accidents, as well as it is bad for mental health and productivity in adults and kids. But one clock shop repair owner says the change is unlikely to happen.
I have heard that before, that they were going to do that along with the metric system. We were going to change that too. So I wouldn't hold your breath for either one of them.
If the bill passes, it would take effect next January the 1st. Congress has voted to avert a government shutdown. The Senate passed a stopgap measure Friday with a 54-46 vote. The government will now continue running through September 30th. House Democrats fought to block it, but ultimately failed after Senate Minority Leader Chuck Schumer and 9 others crossed party lines earlier to advance the bill. Schumer said his vote was to avert a shutdown and not fight the White House and the GOP on a measure he still called a bad bill.
As bad as the CR is, I believe allowing Donald Trump to take even much more power via a government shutdown is a far worse option.
Senator Rand Paul of Kentucky was the only Republican to vote against this bill. A SpaceX Falcon 9 rocket is on the way to the International Space Station to bring home 2 NASA astronauts. The rocket launched off from Florida's Kennedy Space Center last night. The 4 astronauts on board are expected to dock with the ISS later on today, and if all goes planned, the rocket will return to Earth with astronauts Butch Wilmore and Sonny Williams, who have both been at the ISS for 9 months.
You know, the way the narrative has kind of become they're stranded in space, they've been abandoned in space, that's simply not true. They've never been stranded. They've always had a vehicle to come home in if they had to. The problem for NASA was they had to try to figure out a way to get Butch and Sonny Williams back to the ground without disrupting the space station schedule.
Wilmore, Williams, and 2 other crewmates are planning to return to Earth no earlier than Wednesday. It's 8:36, still ahead. A Madison nonprofit looks to expand access to firearm safety classes. Plus, here's a look at today's day in history.
Here's a look at the precipitation chances over the next 7 days. Some light precip throughout the weekend. We're seeing some light precip right now, actually. But by the time we get to Sunday afternoon, we will be dry, and that will continue for Monday and Tuesday. But then Wednesday, that's when our rain chances do increase, and that does look to be our next solid chance of precipitation. So let's take a look at that. So starting Tuesday evening, we're still going to be dry. Could see some of that rain move in late Tuesday night, but especially Wednesday morning. It will start out as rain for Madison, may start out as snow and be only snow for La Crosse. And throughout the day, the temperatures will cool down and that rain will transition to snow, possibly bringing some accumulating snow on the back end of it for Wednesday evening into early Wednesday night. And it does look to clear out late Wednesday night and possibly into early Thursday morning. We could see some lingering snow Thursday morning, but most of it will be Wednesday night. And although it will likely melt quickly by Thursday afternoon, because it's likely going to occur after sunset, or at least some of the accumulating snow will occur after sunset, we could see some hazardous travel for Thursday morning.
All right, Jacob, thank you. Now on to more local news. A Madison nonprofit is working to expand access to free and inclusive firearm safety classes. Our Ellie La Liberté shows us how Kung Fu is helping out.
On Madison's north side, you'll find Madison Kung Fu. But this dojo doesn't just teach you how to fight with fists.
We teach firearm safety, we teach concealed carry, we've got a pepper spray class, we also teach Stop the Bleed, and we're a Red Cross training provider.
Meet Blake Alvarenga, a man with a mission.
I've been doing it for over 3 years now.
He's the executive director of the Forward Initiative, a nonprofit that teaches gun safety classes, among other things, completely for free.
We want to make sure there's no barrier. No one should have an excuse not to get educated on firearm safety or have the ability to get a state license or to learn life-saving skills like stop the bleed.
His goal is to create a safe space for people of all ages, races, genders, sexualities, and religious backgrounds to learn firearm safety. The last time we talked with him, you could find him here, passing out free gun locks at the farmer's market and teaching his classes in smaller spaces.
People have been showing a lot more interest the last few months.
There's a lot of overlap between both our values and the things that we want to provide to the community.
That's where Madison Kung Fu came in, offering Alvarenga a bigger space to expand his reach.
People always suggest like libraries and things like that, but when dealing with serious topics like firearms and life-saving skills, we really need a dedicated space where people can feel comfortable. Now we have more classes available than ever, and we're able to offer them consistently on the same days of the week.
Alvarenga hopes his mission only grows.
We're hoping to have more classes in Madison, as well as expand to Milwaukee, Appleton, Green Bay, and La Crosse and Eau Claire.
Reporting in Madison, Elila Liberté, News 3 Now.
Ellie, thank you. And if you are interested in signing up for a class or to donate, you can head to the forwardinitiative.org. It's 8:42, still ahead. Zach checks in with highlights from Friday's Badger men's basketball game against the UCLA Bruins. Plus, Jacob has the full first warn forecast this week in mornings.
Good morning, everybody. Here's a final look at the 3 things you need to know. Windy today and cooler tomorrow. And the cooler temperatures will be because of the wind, with our next solid chance of rain coming on Wednesday. Could also see some snow with that, but we may see some light precipitation throughout the weekend. So once again, throughout the day, we're going to see some pretty strong winds, especially for Madison and areas to the east. Gusts will be up to around 40 to 45 miles per hour. Not quite as bad as you go further west, but still a little bit breezy. Gusts up to 30 to 35 miles per hour. And the winds will shift out of the northwest much earlier the further west you're located. And then by the evening, everyone will see the winds coming out of the northwest, and that will create the cooler temperatures. And those breezy conditions out of the northwest are expected to continue through the morning on Sunday. Again, up to around 30 miles per hour for the evening and overnight, so not quite as bad as it will be now through the afternoon hours, but still a little bit breezy. Now, as we take a look at those temperatures, again, Madison will see the high temperature around noon. The further west you go, though, the high temperature will be earlier. In some areas, the high temperature is right now, as temperatures will begin falling pretty quickly. But by the time we get to the afternoon, everyone will see those falling temperatures dropping into the 40s by the time we get to around 5 p.m. And then by sunset, we'll see temperatures in the lower 40s to upper 30s. And they're obviously going to continue falling overnight to the point where we could see lows in the middle to lower 20s for areas in the northwest. Madison will see lows likely in the upper 20s. And then for Sunday afternoon, it's not going to be, crazy cold, but it will be colder compared to yesterday, as highs will only be near 40 and also colder compared to the 50s we're seeing right now. Taking a look at the highs for the next 10 days, though, we'll be in the 60s Monday and Tuesday before we drop once again into the 40s and maybe even 30s for Wednesday through Friday. 50s return for the weekend, 40s to start next week. But overall, temperatures by next weekend, those lower 50s, I should say, that's much closer to normal than the 70s yesterday or the 30s that we could see next Thursday. Now, that rain we're seeing right now will clear out pretty quickly, mostly dry for the day, maybe some sprinkles here and there, as we will see a good amount of cloud cover. But as we get towards the overnight hours, we do have a chance of some snow, especially for Madison and areas to the east. La Crosse, very unlikely to see the snowfall. And overall, we're not expecting accumulation, but it is possible we do see a kind of heavier band of snow form that may produce about a ½ inch at most, but that will be just about it. Could create some slippery roads for Sunday morning, but once the sun comes out, it will likely melt very quickly. So again, not expecting it to be too hazardous. And we'll see a lot of sunshine by Sunday afternoon, with plenty of sunshine continuing for Monday and Tuesday as those temperatures warm up very quickly. And then Wednesday, we are expecting quite a bit of rain and a rain-snow mix as well. And then by the time we get to next weekend, we are expecting relatively dry conditions for now, but that could change. Still seeing a small chance of precipitation, but nothing looks quite as extreme as the Wednesday system. So overall, very up and down temperatures with the rain-snow mix on Wednesday.
They say revenge is a dish best served cold, but the Badgers were red hot in their quarterfinal matchup with the Bruins. Remember, Wisconsin lost at UCLA back in January, and that's a game they left LA thinking they should have won. Well, it's UCLA's first ever Big Ten tournament appearance, and Wisconsin was a welcoming host, putting on a 3-ball party. John Tonje says, "Give me all 3 of those plus 1. The 4-point play puts the Badgers up 9. Tonje hit 4 triples in the first half. As a team, they made 12 in the first 20 minutes. Here's another. Death taxes and a corner 3 from Kamari McGee. Badgers led by 19 at the break, and it was all over from there. Second half now, Tonje dials another one up. He finished with a game-high 26 and made UCLA's coach look like that. Badgers blow out the Bruins to advance to the semifinals. Andrew Banstra has more on the big win from Indy.
At a point during Wisconsin's win today, I almost had to grab an umbrella because it was raining threes here in Indianapolis. The Badgers tied a Big Ten tournament record, knocking down 19 triples, and were led by John Tonje, who was a perfect 6 for 6 from beyond the arc and scored 25 points before missing a single shot.
So Tonje takes the ball, hits a 3, and 1.
I was just trying to be aggressive, and it was, today was competition, and it was just fun to be out here with these guys. So I wasn't too focused on the stat sheet at the moment. I was just kind of looking at the score of the game and the flow of the game, and I think, today was just pretty good.
If I would have known he didn't miss a shot, I would have not let him take that last shot. But, when he's scoring like that and we're just feeding off it and his energy's high, it's just all good for the team.
I think he's playing his best basketball season right now, and when he's knocking shots down like that, it kind of opens things up for us other guys, and we got to take advantage of it like we did today. And like I said, credit to him for his consistency, and he's playing great.
It's just a credit to him, the work he puts in. He's the first guy in every day, last guy to leave. So it's not by accident, and we know that. And just super proud of him, super happy for him. And if he can continue to do that down the stretch, I think we'll be all right.
And he still hasn't missed 6 of 6.
I asked Carter Gilmore after the game if the Badgers will spend any time celebrating this one, and he told me they were already done celebrating, adding winning 2 games is cool, but it means nothing without that trophy. At Gamebridge Fieldhouse, Andrew Banstra, News 3 Sports.
High school girls basketball. Edgewood won it all in Division III last year. They're back this year in Division II and made quick work of Rice Lake thanks to Abby Miller. She shake and bakes her way for 2 of her game-high 22. She also grabbed 6 boards and dished out 6 assists. Here's one of them to Erin Shower. 13 points for her as Edgewood heads back to championship Saturday with a 52-30 win. And down in Division 5, Barneveld back at state for the first time since 2016, taking on Lourdes Academy in the semifinals. And this quickly became the Isabel Durst show. First half, she dials one up from deep for one of her 6 threes in the game and to put the Golden Eagles up 5. And that lead would grow in the second half. It's Durst again this time. She takes it to the cup for 2 of her game-high 28. Barneveld moves on with a 41-28 win. And that's it for Morning Sports. Have a great day.
Thank you, Zach. And still ahead on Weekend Mornings, it is National Quilting Day. Plus, Jacob has the final check of the forecast. Stick with us. It is time to celebrate the rich tradition of artistry of quilting because it is National Quilting Day. Observed annually the 3rd Saturday in March, this day honors the skill, creativity, and history behind handmade quilts. The tradition of making quilts dates back centuries, with quilts serving as more than just blankets. They tell stories, mark milestones, and bring communities all together. The National Quilting Association first established this day back in 1991 to recognize the dedication of quilters everywhere. And whether you're an experienced quilter or just appreciate the craft, this is the perfect time to explore this timeless art form. Jacob, do you have any quilts at home? I have a really nice one I have in my apartment that I really enjoy.
I don't know if they're labeled, they're like identified as quilts, but obviously I have plenty of blankets everywhere. But yeah, I don't think they're quite to the level that these are with the
making
texture.
them by hand is really an art form.
Yeah, it's not my thing.
No, not your thing, but I enjoy them. I know a lot of other people enjoy them as well. So
they are very comfy though. I remember having some growing up, and they're always like my favorite blankets in the house.
And isn't it crazy how there's a national day for everything these days? quilt days.
Yeah, and I've also found out there's like multiple days for like certain things. Like obviously yesterday was Pi Day, but there's like a separate National Pi Day. It's like, isn't it just March 14th? But yeah, I don't know. There's always
a day to celebrate.
Always a day to celebrate something.
Today
but
it's the quilters,
and sometimes it's multiple. And Monday it'll be
St. Patrick's Day.
Yeah. So there's another celebrating day, and it's going to be pretty nice. It will be windy, highs near 60. It will be cooler for tomorrow, though. Highs down near 40. Still not too far off from the average high of 44 this time of the year. We do have a chance of rain by Wednesday. Until then, though, just some light precip. Overall, not going to see much. Could see some snow though by Wednesday night.
All right. Thank you all for watching. We'll be back here tomorrow morning at 6:30. We'll see you then.